they are angry. And even if they win this strike, do you think they're going to be unbiased when they teach the students about what went on? Isn't the strike the least of our worries? It's their attitude in the classroom. That kind of bugs me.
Well, I'm a very strong union supporter and a strong supporter of the teachers' unions. However, having said that, the idea that they're not willing to, for a long time, I've supported means testing for teachers, merit testing for teachers. They want these people who've been let go of the school system to automatically come back to the classroom. The reason that they're out is because they weren't good teachers.
Right.
So the idea that they should be the first in line to get teaching jobs is crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
And by the way, the 35%, they moved immediately off of that. It wasn't about the pay increase because they knew they weren't going to get that much. But they're holding up on this whole issue about teachers should be rated on what their kids do in these standardized tests. Why not?
Which in their contract is the only thing they cannot strike for. The only thing they can strike for is money. And I think the latest they came back and said, we didn't really want 35%. We only wanted 25.5%. What are you guys talking about? 15% of eighth graders are reading at an eighth grade proficiency level. Only 20% of them are doing math at that level. Teachers are making $74,000 per year plus benefits. Meanwhile, the average household in Chicago makes under $50,000. Look, I have no problem with good teachers. Just put on the merit pay system. By the way, once you graduate from high school, colleges, universities, they pay on merit. Why can't you do it for the lower grades?
Yeah.
I'm going to defend the teachers here on one aspect, and that is when a lot of these kids get to school, they don't even know their shapes or their colors, and then it just compiles so that by the 8th grade, they can't do basic math. And so you have a chicken and the egg situation where would you want to be a teacher in a Chicago school, inner city school? Probably not. Do they deserve to get $75,000 a year plus benefits and a guaranteed retirement package compared to somebody who might work at a hospice who doesn't have a union that helps them? I mean, that's why I think the public unions are a little bit skating on the edge here. When you saw what happened in Wisconsin, now they have the reforms, the sky didn't fall, and actually that state is starting to come back.
But let's say one thing about this merit for teachers. If there should be a system worked out for teachers in schools, in inner city schools, where the kids are not as prepared as in other schools, so that you could still do merit testing for teachers, but you have to take into account.
But this is where I think that government can't solve all of this problem. This is a breakdown of the family problem.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter how much money they try to throw at this. The teachers aren't going to be able to save a kid who gets there when he's 6 years old, and then further on, they'd only graduate 55%. It's no wonder we have the unemployment rate that we do. 48% of those kids that aren't going to graduate will not work in the next 10 years.
But we keep throwing money at this, and even the protesters have to realize. I mean, they have a TV; they can look into the future. All they got to see is Greece. This is where it's going.
Yeah,
you're asking Andrea this question?
Right. Striking in the middle of the street isn't the answer, and I think they should consider cutting off a lot of the federal funding that go to these schools that aren't producing. I mean, it's just ballooned over the years, so you have these kids who aren't being educated, but yet the salaries keep going up, and you have these race to the top type things coming out of Washington, D.C., and they're trying to, I mean, look, Ron tried to reform it. Yeah, he tried to, but as Dana points out, a lot of this stuff is too late, and that's why they're in the bind that they're in.
The problem is you've got kids who mostly single parent, mostly women, who live in a ghetto, who have no influences outside the ghetto, and you expect them to be the same as some.
Hey, Bobby, you can have a baseline, though. You can say, you could draw a line here, and here's your baseline. And if the students are increasing their level from their baseline, the teacher's doing a good job. You don't have to measure it against a suburban kid.
And what about the respect for taxpayers who work really hard all day long, pay their taxes, and then they watch this, and they know that their city is in decline? Who's going to decide to move to Chicago? No one's going to want to put their kid there.
Yeah,
they'll want to go to a private school or a charter school, which are the ones that are still working.
Yeah, I mean, they're unaffected. They're inoculated.